night. So, what is education? Education has to deal with school giving me tools so that I can change my life intellectually, materially, and spiritually. And the second, I can change things around me. And how does that happen? It means anything we teach to the children, we need to teach them how to apply it in their lives. And this is very interesting because if you say, can we replace competition today? Can we remove exams? Can we remove competition? The answer would be no, because we don't know the replacement. We don't know what to replace it with. But I found this quotation very interesting, especially in participation in its generation, that the aim of education is for every person who is involved in it to generate new knowledge, which is something we don't allow the children. We are so concerned that we don't have the sabji and dal, so we tell them just eat chapatis. So we know we have a useless curriculum that's not going to be live, so we just tell, just focus. A most common thing for children if they ask something is, this is out of course, don't waste your time on it. This is your board exam, don't think of any other knowledge. And so this children being involved in generation of knowledge, being involved in application and diffusion is an amazing thing, that if we can get the children to study, then to sit, it's a very common thing that we use usually, this cycle of study, reflection, and action. That the children come to school, they get knowledge, then they need to start going and put it into action, and then sit and put it into reflection. How will that get done is a very complex thing, but I can end my talk with one experiment we did last year. Last year, we were just talking with the principal and in charges of a school, Upper Mam School, and we said, what next now? We have a lot of things, what's the next step? And she suggested, let's talk to the teachers. And we talked to the teachers, and they came up with few challenges, and they came up with a challenge of anger, that a lot of students are becoming angry. So we tried to put this cycle into place of studying, action, and reflection. And it was a small step, but then I think this is the future of education, where we need to get the children to start thinking what they're studying, how do they put it in their lives. So I'll end my talk with this video of these kids telling you what they did last year, a small example of this.
We have some teachers getting together with some students, and they have designed a self-management group. They have some material which they discuss. They've been talking to the children. These children have been talking of how to manage anger. And I think this is really, really relevant at this age. When these students, they are in class 11 and 12, if they learn to manage themselves, I think they'll be able to manage all problems of life.
So when I talk to the teachers, they come up with their own issues and their problems that they face in school. So together, along with some teachers, we have taken an initiative of raising the capabilities among students.
We try to identify the causes which are most prevalent in youth, which cause anger. We try to identify those causes, and we try to remove those causes.
We even got involved with many of our friends. We asked them certain things about what kind of problem do they face, which they do not tell the teachers about it.
Every one of us was also a very short-tempered person, each of us. Even I was very short-tempered, but with time, as we went through sessions with students and teachers, and when we discussed that the root causes are just the ego issues, the arrogance that the anger that just we absorb inside.
Then as we went on with our meeting sessions, we realized that punishment is not always the solution for problems. Also, we need to understand the students, like what is the cause of that particular misbehavior. And maybe the person or the student has some troubles back home. And if we, trouble him by punishing in the school as well, then that might as well just, reduce the level of confidence or motivation in him and also decrease the efficiency of his work.
We went into deep research. What's the problem? We kept jotting down points. Then when we met on Saturdays, we elaborated those points. So all of this contributed in making final case studies, final papers.
For the future, we have planned that we will be having kind of nukkad nataks, TED talks, sessions with the juniors, session with the teachers, session with the parents, as well as the management, because we are the people who make the environment of a child.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hamid Mohajir. And I think I should congratulate Abha ma'am first about the success of the JYEP group at the Gomti Nagar campus. Of course, with the help of Hamid. And since we saw in the video that the students themselves validated the changes that they have observed in their behavior after consultation and research. So I think all of us here should be able to look towards the future of these children with immense hope in our eyes and belief in them. And they will be instrumental in bringing about change. And the myths that you spoke of, that competition is a driving force of evolution, that we believe that is true, and that humans are competitive. I totally agree with you, because my question was supposed to be like, I'm confessing that it was going to be my question to you, that what healthy competition, which you so rightfully began your talk with, because I personally really don't understand what you mean by healthy competition. Because, because throughout the public sphere, we see that competition has become an institutional norm everywhere now. Where there is so much of culture of contest that we are only increasing social disparities. Because it only promotes, I feel, short-term material interests of narrow segments of the society with an inherent advantage, of forms of power and privilege, maybe. And it undermines all the efforts to solve bigger, complex problems which we are facing all around us. So finding solutions to these problems have always been virtues like cooperation among people, because they get together, they have different insights, experiences, talents, and capacities. So but this culture of contest, I think, sets people against one another. So thank you so much for taking that up. And I would still pose that question to you. What is the term that we have coined as healthy competition?
There is no such thing as a healthy competition.
Because
it cannot be healthy. In fact, even the top scorers, they're suffering from this depression thing. I know students who have scored 95% in the board exams, who have been locked in the house for the next 6 months by the parents because they didn't score higher. I mean, there is no such thing as a healthy competition. And as the statistics showed, it's making our kids, I mean, they don't even know why they're studying. They're learning these whole things that we've put in our curriculum. They don't know why they're using it, how they're going to use it in their lives, what are the implications. They're just doing it because that's what gains them praise. And even the toppers are not, as mentioned, the Labor Bureau had said that the uneducated are more equipped with life than our educated. Our competition is actually a very interesting example is you ask any child in this country to make a scenery, and immediately they come up with that mountains and those birds that look like ours and the sun with one ray longer. So you find our education system is, because of the competition, is killing creativity, it's doing all these other problems. So it can't be healthy. There's no healthy competition, it's all unhealthy.
Absolutely, I truly believe in that. And thank you so much, all our three panelists who were there for this plenary session. Each one of you have shared very insightful thoughts, and I'm sure as educators, as we all sit here, we have a lot that we are taking back from this morning's plenary session. So thank you once again, each one of you who's been listening patiently, and of course to our speakers. Thank you so much.
We once again thank our panelists for those very insightful presentations. And now may I request Mrs. Wahidi, the convener of the conference, to please apprise us with proceedings to follow.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Abha, and thank you, Aditi, for that wonderful chairing and of this whole session, and of course the speakers that everybody has already thanked, including our chairs and the co-chair. Now, the friends, we are moving for lunch. Lunch is being served just at the back, just as the tea was being served. Now, yeah, we'll do that also. I have to request, if the Geeta Didi, can you please honor, Roshan, can you please honor our guests? If both of you come for honoring, because I have to take the panelists for the press conference also. And also Nadia, please, and Mr. Payam Shoghi. I need to take 4 or 5 friends for the press conference. The press is waiting. So, friends, if you see in your program, after lunch, we are going to the parallel workshop sessions. Please look at your badges. You will see a number on your badge. The number which is on your badge says which workshop you're going to. If you don't have a number, then you have to decide. So, each workshop, there are 5 parallel workshops going on, and it will be soon after the lunch break. Please follow the timing in your own booklet. Your booklet has the program, so the timing is given very clearly. And may I request Geeta Didi, if you could also join the press conference, and I think they're waiting. And Dara, please, Dara Feldman, Dave, and Jeff Smith, and Professor Geeta Kingdon, Nadia Moghbalpur, and Mr. Payam Shoghi. Can I request you all to please proceed towards the press conference area? The press conference area is the CISV building where we are staying, right opposite to the dining hall. In the morning, we were having our breakfast there, so it's just across from there. Yeah, please. And the rest of the guests and the respected principals and all the friends from the various parts of India who are here, may I please invite you to have lunch. Lunch is being served at the back. We are to assemble in the parallel workshop sessions in another 45 minutes. Meaningful, every session has been, and particularly the interactive sessions. So I would like to thank all the facilitators of the interactive session that we had. Ms. Dr. Dara Feldman, Mrs. Nadia Moghbalpur, Mrs. Shipra Upadhyay, and Mr. Deepak Dalal. And whom did I miss? Mr. Shamim Mowahed. Shamim, I couldn't miss. It was a beautiful session that I had the opportunity to go to 2 of them. I went to Mr. Shamim's session and Nadia's session, and I just stepped into Dr. Dara's session for a group photograph. But it was a thing, from the enthusiasm of the friends, it was very obvious that everybody was interacting in the sessions and enjoying the deliberations. So thank you all once again. We are now coming to the final plenary session of today. ये अभी हमारी सबसे last वाले session है. Or in this session, we have 2 very powerful speakers. More important than anything else, I want to say that when we were organizing the conference and we wanted so much the involvement of all those distinguished friends who have been somehow or the other connected with CMS, but more important than that, working so much in the field of the development of this country and this particularly this state, we were so fortunate that Mr. V.N. Garg graciously agreed to be our chairperson for this session of the conference. For many of us, we all know Mr. V.N. Garg because very kindly, after he retired as the additional secretary of the government of Uttar Pradesh in 2015, he joined the City Montessori School, the President's Secretariat. And I am one of those fortunate people who had the opportunity to be working directly with him. Mr. Garg, it's a pleasure to welcome you here today, and I'm so grateful to you for accepting to be our chairperson. Will you all join me in welcoming Mr. Garg? May I please request you, yes, to please take your place as the chair of this session. I'm also extremely grateful to my dear colleague, Mrs. Ruchi Joshi, Bhuvan Joshi, the respected principal of Indiranagar branch of CMS, for accepting to serve as the co-chair of this particular plenary session. So, thank you very much. So, may I have the mics? The cordless mics for the table? I will leave it to Mr. V.N. Garg to introduce the distinguished speakers who are very powerful people. I've heard both of them previously, and it's a great honor to have them in this conference. So, Mr. Garg, over to you, please.
Dear friends, I welcome you to this plenary session number 4 this international conference. We have 2 very eminent keynote speakers, and I invite first of all Mrs. Suniti Jha. Mrs. Suniti Jha, who will be speaking on redefining quality education and ongoing discourse. Redefining quality education and ongoing discourse. Welcome, welcome Mrs. Suniti Jha. A few words about her. She is the head administration at New Era Foundation, New Era High School. New Era High School is a Baha'i-inspired international co-educational institution in Panchgani, Pune. She is also the secretary of the board of New Era Foundation. She completed her school education in Patna, then read engineering from Mumbai University. She is pursuing higher studies in education from Pune University. She has worked in various industries like information technology, banking, and education. She is involved in spiritual and material education of children and adults as well, including education in different villages in different parts of Maharashtra. She is also involved in capacity building of different schools all over India. With such an eminent speaker who will be speaking to us on redefining quality education and ongoing discourse. I welcome Mrs. Suniti Jha, and now I call upon our second eminent speaker for this session, Mr. Payam Shogi. Mr. Payam Shogi, who will speak to us on whole school approach to value education, experience from the field. Welcome. Welcome, Mr. Payam Shogi. A few words by way of introduction of Mr. Shogi. He has been earlier principal and now principal consultant, Riverdale International Residential School, Pune. Riverdale School is a leading higher secondary residential school. He is also a consultant and senior level facilitator of an organization called Destination Outdoor Learning Systems Private Limited, Noida. This organization deals with corporate training and employees development. In addition, he is also the principal facilitator and chief training content developer in training and consultancy called Training Innovations, Bhopal. So in a way, he is wearing multiple hats, but all are some way interconnected. Then, just by way of his background, he did BSc Honors from Patna University in Physics, Mechanical Engineering from Institution of Engineers, MA, B.Ed, Postgraduate, Diploma in Counseling and Management. He was also the director of Foundation for Advancement of Science in Bhopal for about 6 years from 2001 to 2007. And he was also awarded Man of Excellence Award in August 2017 for outstanding achievement in education and social services. So we have such an eminent personality before us. Welcome, Mr. Payam Shogi. And now we begin. I request Mrs. Suniti Jha to make her presentation. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to everyone. Mrs. Faride, in her introductory speech, used powerful for us twice. I would like to say not only us, but each and every principal and teacher sitting here is powerful. It's because we have the power of education with us. We are contributing in the field of education, and hence all of us are very, very powerful people. There's a presentation that I wanted to show. Okay. Friends, let's see this video. It's a very raw footage of two children walking, one barefoot, now walking on one foot. They are trying to find a slipper which the child has left, and the other child is sharing her slipper with her and hence is walking on one foot. How do I go to the presentation? Somebody will have to help me. I'm not so technical. This is it? Sure. I think it's gone beyond. This is not the first slide, sorry. The first slide has to be, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. I need to press this? Sure, thank you. Thank you very much. So friends, the video that you just saw was very raw. But why I made you see it is because it was sent to me by one of the volunteers working in the school who captured the moment and actually said that I was amazed that human beings can be trained in this way, that instead of not sharing the slipper and saying, just go find it, the child actually shared one pair and they actually went on one foot to find the second girl's slipper. That's the nature of human being. Human beings are noble. That's what we have been said in the morning session also. So with that thought in mind, let's think of redefining education. In the morning session, we were told the innumerable problems that exist in society. We were showed slides of people cheating from the windows, jumping across. So what is it that is lacking in the country? So while all of us, powerful people, we need to think, are we giving the right education to our students? One of the things that we need to think about is what is our motto? A suggestion that we can all think about is, let your vision be world-embracing rather than confined to your own self. So let's take that little girl. She could have been selfish, but her vision was self-embracing, was world-embracing, is because of the right education that she is receiving. These are some things that I want you all to read, which is basically telling us that this profound statement raises a call to humanity to become thoroughly imbued with the consciousness of oneness of humankind, rising above lesser loyalties and selfish interests. This is the purpose of education today, that we have to go beyond ourselves and think of the world at large. Think about oneness of humanity. Before we go further, maybe I would like to tell you what school am I talking about. I'm working for a school, I'm serving in a school which is called as New Era High School. It's a 73-year-old school. When we say it has 900 students, back in Panchkani, which is a very small town in Maharashtra, I used to feel, wow, we have 900 students. And when I come to CMS, there are 56,000 students. What a contrast. But each of us is making our own small contribution. So New Era High School is a boarding school, a co-ed educational boarding school in a small town of Panchkani. You all are most welcome to visit us sometime. The other institution that we run is called the New Era Teacher Training Center, where we train teachers to become promoters of community well-being. They do not call themselves as teachers, they call themselves as promoters of community well-being. So friends, in order to understand how to redefine education, let's talk about the elements of the conceptual framework for social action. Education is also one such social action, and all the elements, the conceptual framework applies to education. So we'll go to discuss what are these elements of the conceptual framework. If we follow in our institutions, maybe that will help us to redefine education. What I'll be covering in my presentation is the element of belief about the fundamental issue of existence. I'll be covering what is the role of knowledge that is vital to our institution. I'll be covering what are the principles that should govern a student's life. And I'll be covering what are the approaches and methods that we have to adopt as institutions. So friends, let's think about what are our institutional beliefs about fundamental issues of existence. One of it being nature of man. So what do you think about nature of man? We had a very beautiful presentation on competition and cooperation. So is man only there to fulfill his selfish desires, or can he do more? You know, this is one of the quotations which describes who I am. You know, this question of identity, what is the nature of man? What is the purpose of man? What is our true identity? Are we only consumers of the market goods that we have? Or, actually, defines it beautifully. What is the nature of man? A manifestation of God says that with the hands of power I made thee, and with the fingers of strength I created thee. And within thee have I placed the essence of my light. Which means all of us are noble. We are made in the image of God. So why not manifest it when we are working in society? Why not teach the kids that you are a manifestation of God on this earth, and you can build on those qualities and you can work for the society? Can this be a principle of our education, that nature of man is essentially noble and is spiritual? I was supposed to show the video here, but because of the technical error, it showed in the beginning. But it still makes sense. So, I have some pictures of New Era High School wherein we show that how we are trying to tell kids. So the chart shows we are peacemakers. So from the beginning of the primary that they come, the standard 1 that they enter in school, they have been told that they are peacemakers. They are human beings. Human beings are spiritual in nature. So the very foundation of primary, they instill in them that we are spiritual human beings. Then comes the youth. The youth thinks, do the youth think that job is their only aim in life? Money is their only aim in life? Do they have to compete with each other? Not necessarily if your educational institutes do not teach them that. It's just a very simple photo of a cooperative game. But such things, when we do with youths, it imbibes in them the quality of cooperation rather than fostering competition. Then there's this wave in the society that junior youth is an age of crisis, and youth very easily go into wrong path. And there's a generation gap. But do we fundamentally believe that is it true? Or do we believe that no, there is a beautiful bond, a relationship that can exist between a junior youth and a youth? That is the nature of man. Don't we love our brothers? Don't we love our sisters? So what makes a difference to love another child in a boarding school who may be junior to me? If that's the belief in your institution, it permeates in the junior youth and the youth studying in the institution as well. Let's go to the second element of the conceptual framework, which is what are your views on the role of knowledge that plays today? Sorry, it just went beyond. So we have to discuss now what are our views on the role of knowledge. What do we think science and religion is? Are science and religion contradictory to each other? If as an institution, one of the comments made in the morning was that we look at moral education as a different class. We think that we are hampering the curriculum, and hence there were two views given that why character education may not be a part of the school. But is it in line with the thought that science and religion are complementary to each other? If we are trying to redefine education, that's the first thing that we need to know. That science and religion are not complementary, but they strengthen each other. Both are two major sources of knowledge. Hence, in order to be a spiritual human being, I need academics. In order to excel in academics, I also need to be a spiritual human being. In the case of role of knowledge, there's also something called as outlook of education. What is our institutional's outlook on education? If we think of this statement, that for us, education means that all men have been created to carry forward an ever-advancing civilization. This is what Mrs. Faraday was talking in her morning session, that if every student thinks that we have been given the responsibility to carry out an advancing civilization, half our job is done. So right from primary till the secondary, if you make them think that they are part of this process, working for the whole world, they can do something in their small neighborhood as well. There are some some pictures wherein we encourage the students to show kindness when they go for service projects. The staff of New Era actually goes and takes English classes for community outside. The school runs till 4 p.m. 4 to 5, they go to outside places and they teach English as a part of their service to community. These are sets of youth who don't only teach in New Era, but they go to outside schools and they teach simple things like sets through, if you see that's leaf. So this is just one example that how the youth think themselves to be contributing to the ever-advancing civilization. Then we have classes wherein the youth guides the younger ones and tries to be the role model of them. They try to talk to them, they consult with them, they reflect with them on profound concepts. This is one of the workers of the kitchen. We had a lovely meal today, and I'm sure that many of us in our heart must be thanking the cook who cooked such a delicious meal. So if your students go and thank that cook or that chapati maker, what a difference it makes to the ever-advancing civilization, because it's an act of kindness that the child is encouraged to do. They make soaps during camps. The next element that I would like to cover about the element of social action is what are the principles governing a student's life. You know, before in India, we used to have this system of joint families. So this solidarity, this unity used to be a part of our lives. But now, as we are going generation after generation, the nuclear families are increasing. The separations are increasing. How are our students dealing with that? Are they also becoming selfish and thinking themselves to be a separate element of society? Or do they think themselves as a part of the society? How do they look at friendship? What importance do they give to friendship? Let me tell you a story about friendship in New Era High School regarding this particular element of framework. So these are two girls, Mehak and Nazneen, studying in the same class, running a 3,000-meter race. How many of you have ever run 3,000 meter? I see no hands. I'm sure Mr. Deepak must have run 3,000 meter in his wildlife expeditions. I have never run even 500 meter in my life. Well, the whole student body of New Era runs 5 a.m. in the morning, 3,000 meters across Panchgani and comes back panting. These two were about to reach the gate of New Era, that is the finish line, within some 1 minute. And the girl, Nilofar, the one in the red shirt, gave up and said, I cannot run any further. And it was Mehak who could have taken the opportunity and run and won the race. Instead, because of the redefined education that human beings are spiritual, she understood she cannot leave her friend behind. She encouraged her. And she told her, you can do it. And hence, Nazneen, who was wearing the red shirt, came first. And Mehak actually followed her. So it's not necessary that human beings are looked at people who want to win. Human beings value friendship. You know, I don't have the picture, but there was another incident last